Out of all of the habits that I've built in my life, perhaps the most powerful has been regular journaling and reflection. For the past 6 years, I've written over 1,000 journal entries, four of which were at Cornell University. And in this video, I want to highlight some of the main reasons that I think starting a journaling habit as a college freshman, or any college year for that matter, is one of the most powerful things that you can do, not just for self-improvement, but for spirituality as well. So let's get right into it. The first reason is that it improves all of your college life domains. One of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to journaling is that it's relegated just to the journaling habit itself. But journaling can be taken to your entire college cosmos if you come at everything with a reflection mindset. If you come at your health with a reflection mindset, your friendships, your classes and studies, your purpose, your personal growth. And some of the ways that this has helped me reflect on experience is firstly in the health domain. I realized that I needed to stop anabolic dieting. I used to be on this diet where I would eat as high protein, as low calorie as possible in order to artificially make it so that I could lose a ton of weight and looked quote unquote ripped. And journaling helped me realize in my first year how negative this was being for my life. I couldn't see friends as much. I couldn't do studies as well because I was so low energy from eating so terribly. Another thing that it helped me realize is in my friendships that I needed to connect them together. For a lot of my college life, I was mostly in friendships with one-on-one connections. They never connected together. And through the practice of journaling, I saw the pattern that none of my friends were connected with each other. And that built this yearning in me to have that cohesiveness in all of my friendships. And then finally, one of the things that helped me realize was in my classes and studies, I needed to switch from human biology, health, and society to psychology. I came in as an HBHS major to Cornell because I was anabolic dieting, and I thought, yes, I need to help everyone else with their weight struggles, their obesity struggles. And I didn't realize that it was me projecting my own health struggles onto my major that was causing me to follow it. Through the process of journaling, I was able to realize that actually what I was much more passionate about and much more good at inherently was understanding the mind. And that helped me realize I needed to switch my major. Another reason journaling is incredibly powerful is that it gives you a memory record of your growth. When people ask me about my middle and high school years, I often get a little sad, not because they were all bad. I played a ton of video games, Minecraft and Terraria, Witcher 3, Zelda. So that was fun. But the thing that makes me sad is through most of it, aside from junior and senior year, I didn't have a journal. And so I literally cannot tap into the memories that I had back then, the things that I built during that period. It was only after I started journaling in junior year that I was really able to begin to see what I was doing on a day to day. And I can still go back to it now and see that. It's why I actually wrote a memoir. And the only reason I was able to write it so cohesively is because I was able to go back to those journal entries that I'd written and see what I was doing that one spring day in April 23rd. And you can do that too. It also helps you through this memory bank spot patterns in your own life. Like I realize that I get the most joy from physical experiences that are novel with friends. I get joy from deep work in the mornings. I'm recording this in the mornings because I love doing creative stuff like this. And I saw that as a pattern. And then it also, unfortunately, in a more negative way, helped me realize that I shouldn't hang out with this one friend that I was hanging out with, because every time that I saw them, I noticed a pattern of negative energy. So it's not just a memory bank, it's like a pattern bank of valuable insights. And speaking of finding patterns, another reason journaling is so powerful is that it builds your emotional centeredness. Throughout a lot of college, friends would call me a golden retriever because of how calm and playful I was. Their words, not mine. I at least don't think I'm a dog. I'm pretty sure I'm human. But why might this have been the case? I think it's because journaling gives you a space for calmness away from the performance of everyday college life. It helps you turn scattered emotions and thoughts into organized writing. And one of the insights that really helped me with this emotional understanding and centeredness is that we are made of parts. Every single one of these parts is trying to help us throughout life in their own way. Neither are good or bad. They are simply helping us because of the way that they adapted to life in the circumstances that they were created in. And one of the valuable aspects of journaling is that they help you navigate these parts with compassion and love. I really enjoy embodying these parts and then having them talk to each other inside of my journals. One of the ways that I did this was I found two parts of myself, the Curiosity Cruiser and Mr. Career. Curiosity Cruiser is the part of me that really loves learning new things, diving into rabbit holes like spirituality, psychology, and mathematics or something. And then Mr. Career is the more practical part of me, the part that knows I still need to reach financial freedom and do things in the moment which might help my career down the road. And journaling helped me put these two in dialogue. And the reason I needed to do that is because I was a content creator throughout a lot of college. I still am. And I often found this disconnect between the love of intrinsic learning I found in my content creation and then the part of me, Mr. Career, that knew I needed to do stuff in my schoolwork or in my content creation as well that would be more practical. So putting these two in dialogue helped me navigate that, which actually also built my compassion for others because I realized they all have their own parts. No, most people are not acting out of maliciousness to you. They're acting because their parts are fighting with each other and they've blended with one of them. And that's one of the things journaling helps you do is it helps you unblend. It helps you get a more objective perspective. And I talk a lot more about this in my free college freshman college journaling kit, which is a gamified journaling system to help you grow your emotional centeredness, your self-understanding and purposefulness with over 1,000 journaling questions and 5 journaling templates. And you can get that in the description below if you want it. But one of the things that kit will help you do in this area is there's a whole section on the shadow compass, which is the things in your life that diminish your ability to follow your life purpose, your career. And it gets really concrete in this area. Like, what are your emotions? What are your thought loops? What are your limiting beliefs, your behaviors, your information diet? And in a sense, that's defining your parts and helping you navigate them. Another reason that journaling is really powerful is it builds your self-understanding. Now, what actually is the self? I like to define it as, and as many spiritual traditions do, the finite character inside of your consciousness that creates cohesion and helps you navigate life. It's built up of your emotions, your thoughts, your values, identities, limiting beliefs, and core wounds, and much, much more. And the reason that this self exists is to create cohesion in consciousness. If we didn't have any self, if I couldn't say Aiden exists and attach experiences from my past to the person I am right now, I would just kind of be an amorphous blob talking to you on camera. I'd have no idea what I was doing. But the problem is that when we aren't conscious of how this self is making us act, when we survive this self unconsciously, because if we aren't aware that this self exists, then we can live our entire lives following its whims, thinking that we are the self in totality, when the self is simply just a part of us and the whole is much, much greater. So this doesn't just happen on an individual level, it happens on a collective one. We just survive our individual selves, and we also survive our collective selves, our relationships, our communities, because those relationships, those communities affect our self on an individual level, which we then survive. And so an example is I would often in my Cornell years watch students surviving their academic achievement culture by having conversations about how terrible their sleep was, or how much homework they have, or how much prelims they need to study for exams. There's nothing wrong with this. It's a nature of going to an elite college. But I don't think they were conscious that these conversations themselves were surviving the very culture that they didn't like. It was perpetuating it. Another example is, I remember I had an intergroup dialogue class a few years ago, and at the very end of the semester, we had a conversation one-on-one with another person in the class about what we loved most about it. And I had so much to say. I loved the class overall. After I finished, the person I was talking to literally said only one sentence, and that was it. And that was, I just took this class for the credits. And I was flabbergasted. I didn't know what to say. Like, the idea of taking a class just for the credits to me was insane. But that itself was an example of surviving the grade culture that was perpetuated inside of Cornell. And I don't blame that student. They existed inside of this collective surviving of that grade culture. Journaling helps you become conscious and aware of that so that you can more purposely navigate it. Another reason journaling is so powerful is it builds your purposefulness. Now, you might say as a college student, why would I define my life purpose already? I have my major. I'm going to figure myself out throughout doing my major. I get that. But the challenge is that if you don't define your life purpose now, someone else is going to define it for you. And you're going to be unconsciously living their life purpose without realizing it. Life purpose is much more important than a lot of people realize because it hones your attention on what's relevant. There's an infinite amount of things you could be paying attention to. You could be paying attention to my hand, my epic scarf. I know, it's very cool. My glasses. Life purpose helps you hone in on what even to pay attention to in the first place. It helps you build your cosmic compass, what your values are, what your ideal self is, what role you have in life. If you were a role-playing character, what play style would you have? And this is again in my cosmic journaling kit. This is the cosmic compass and the shadow compass. So life purpose is not a distraction. It is the thing that you might be distracting yourself from. And once you've built that, everything else gets set in place so much easier. Another reason that journaling is so powerful, and this is a more meta reason, is that it builds your metacognitive skills. It helps you learn how you think and how to think. It helps you go meta, which essentially means stepping out of the frame that you're using to sense, to perceive, to feel, to think, to behave, to relate to reality, and actually looking at that frame, defining what it is, why it makes you act the way it does, how it makes you feel, and where it might lead you to in the future, as well as evaluating if that frame is helping you or not. I like to use a glasses metaphor. Imagine that your glasses are the frames that you come to college with. And normally we're not aware that we're wearing glasses. Honestly, I'd forgotten I was wearing them through this script because I'm talking to the camera. But going meta is like stepping out from your glasses, actually looking at the material. I wish I could say this was solid gold, because then I could say I'm rich, but nope, it's fake. But defining the material, how it makes you see things differently. In this case, it doesn't make me see anything differently because they're not prescription. I wear them just so I can look older and probably slightly gayer as well. So yeah, that's something that journaling helps you do. Is it helps you step outside of yourself and look down. And this skill is something you can translate to all parts of college. I've personally used it to build 2 different meta theories. One of them, spiral knowing, which is a theory for teaching and learning and knowing, as well as the meta hexagon, which is literally a meta theory about how to go meta, which I have a video on if you want to see more on the most undervalued elite college freshman skill, going meta. So that's another powerful aspect of journaling. And then the last and most important, in my opinion, power of journaling is that it helps you pursue spirituality, which is what this channel is all about. Spirituality, I define it as the art of growing your knowledge, your love, and your consciousness to awaken to the oneness of everything. I know that's a loaded definition. I define it much better in my longer videos, but I create these shorter videos so that I can reach people who don't want to watch the 2-3 hour videos first, which is fair. And I want to highlight that journaling is not the only habit they're going to need in order to pursue spirituality. You need an entire ecology of practices, reflection practices that check and balance each other to help you. But journaling is one of the most powerful, especially for freshmen, because it really helps you hone your attention, because you have to write stuff down instead of kind of just like think into space while you're walking around. It's a little harder, especially if you haven't trained that habit yet. And it helps you in 2 different ways with spirituality. One, it helps you with growing up, which is the art of transcending and integrating how you make meaning from reality. It helps you do this by navigating shadow material from your life. And shadow material is simply things that you've attached to by either an addiction or an allergy where you're avoiding it. And it helps you become aware of the shadow material that you might have. Like, I was attached to anabolic dieting, addicted to it, because I had not healthily transcended and integrated my own body image inside of college. It also helps you navigate your self-survival because of this. As we said earlier, build self-understanding, and it lets you become aware of how you're surviving yourself, potentially unconsciously. And it also helps you contemplate questions that help you transcend into higher and higher structures of relating to reality. Questions like, how do I know anything at all? What does it mean to love? What even is spirituality? It helps you contemplate these questions. And then secondly, it helps you on the spiritual path with waking up, which is what you even see inside of reality. As college freshmen, we tend to assume that reality is just the gross world, the matter and our body, and maybe if we're a little bit more awakened, our thoughts and our feelings. And yet, there are so much more dimensions to consciousness than just that. And there's the subtle state, the causal state, and ultimately the non-dual state. And you don't need to know what those are. You just need to know that journaling can help you think about what's holding you back from those deeper states of consciousness. And that is one of the most powerful aspects of journaling. So one of the beautiful things about journaling in this whole video is that what you've just experienced is kind of like exiting into space for the first time. But what I want you to notice, because this is just a 20-minute video, is that there is a vast, vast spiritual cosmos to explore. And years from now, when you look back upon your spiritual journey and you wonder how it all started, you're going to see this video and smile, knowing that this was your exiting into space when you still thought that space was just the universe. And you'll laugh. And you'll be so grateful that journaling helped you realize the entire universe and everything beyond it, and all the beauty that was held inside of you. If that sounds like fun, check out my Cosmic Journaling Kit inside of the description below. Again, it's a gamified journaling system to help you level up and grow your emotional centeredness, your self-understanding, and your purposefulness. It's free, and it's got over 1,000 journaling questions, 5+ journaling templates. As always, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Eat some peanut butter, and bye-bye.